All right, shalom, shalom. I want to start saying all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. A double honors to the Apostle of this great millstone, and shalom, Wakasah, Allah, Bakyar, which is a peace and mercy to the elect throughout the four corners, wherever you may be. I'm the brother Amar from the branch of GMS Cleveland, come back at you with another video. And as you can see on the screen, man, this is a book called The 13th Tribe. A lot of brothers are familiar with this book. Um, it's a decent read. Some of the stuff, man, obviously you gotta chew the meat, spit the bones, so to speak. It's kind of a hard read, especially if you're a brother that don't really like reading. But if you're a brother that get into books, it's definitely a good book to have in your arsenal. Um, I said I had this book for a couple years now. What I'm saying? I just decided to go back into it a little bit. Um, but anyway, man, this is from page 172, and it's just going to be touching on the topic of Yiddish. All right, and uh, the so-called language that these small hats speak, um, which are the Amalekites, so-called JOO. Anyway, like I said, it's from page 172. All right. Uh, and like towards the middle where it has the number 3. It says and I'm just kind of jump around. I got highlighted parts. It says Yiddish is a curious almagram. All right. And when you look up almagram, it's a mixture. That word almagram means mixture or blend. So it says Yiddish is a curious almagram or mixture or blend of Hebrew, medieval German, and Slavonic and other elements written in Hebrew characters, man. So that Yiddish it derives, has its origins in German and medieval German, Hebrew, and Slavonic characters. All right, as this book states, it says now that it is dying out, it has become a subject of much academic research in the United States and Israel. But into the 20th century, it was considered by Western linguistics as merely an odd jargon, hardly worth serious study. Right. So up until the 20th century, they when they started to dive more into Yiddish, they didn't really consider worth diving into, man. All right, because they know it was some made up BS. It says as H. Smith remarked, and I quote, it says, little attention has been paid to Yiddish by scholars, apart from a few articles and periodicals. The first really a scientific study of the language was my CS Historical Grammar, published in 1924. It is significant that the latest edition of the Standard Historical Grammar of German, which treats German from the point of view of its dialects, dismissive Yiddish in 12 lines. At first glance, the prevalence of German loan words in Yiddish seems to contradict our main thesis of the origin of Eastern Jewry, which is Jewry is Judea, referring to Jews, but mainly like I said, it's referring to the plot of land, Judea. It says, we shall see presently that the opposite is true. It says, but an argument involves several steps, right? And so it's going to list. The first is to inquire what particular kind of regional German dialect went into the Yiddish vocabulary. So when they started to dive into it and break it down, they wanted to see, when it says it's a mixture of German, they wanted to see what kind of German, right? It says nobody before my CS seems to have paid serious attention to this question. It is to his lasting merit to have done so and to have come up with a conclusive answer based on the study of the vocabulary, phonetics, and syntax of Yiddish as compared with the main German dialects in the Middle Ages. He concludes. All right, and when you jump down, Basically, it says, in other words, the conclusion he came to, in other words, the German component, which went into the hybrid Jewish language, originated in the eastern regions of Germany, adjacent to the Slavonic belt of Eastern Europe. So, in all the study he came to, this man in particular, he came to that conclusion that this is a made up language and it has origins in Germany. All right, and let's see, yeah, it has originated in eastern regions of Germany. All right. It says, thus, the evidence from logistics supports the historical record and refuting the misconception of the Franco-Rhesian origins in Eastern Jewry. But this negative evidence does not answer the question how an East Middle German dialect combined with Hebrew and Slavonic elements became the common language of that Eastern Jewry. Right. So it basically it didn't make sense how that became the dominant language of Eastern Judea. All right, the reason why it became the dominant language because basically it was when they basically kicked Jake out of the land. All right, they wanted to pretty much establish their own you know uh, you know culture, so to speak, man. Because contrary to popular belief, man, those so called small hats, they don't keep the ways of the Bible. They don't keep the law, statute, commandments that's written in the scriptures. Hell, they didn't even keep the original language, man. And that's what this lesson is about. They made up their own language. They pretty much made up their own uh, customs. All right, contrary to the scriptures, man. That's what this is going into. All right. It says where was I at? It says, but this negative evidence does not answer the question how an East Middle German dialect combined with Hebrew and Slavonic elements became the common language of that Eastern Jewry, the majority of which we assume to have been of Khazar origin. In attempting to answer this question, several factors have to be taken into consideration. First, the evolution of Yiddish was a long and complex process, which presumably started in the 15th century or even earlier, yet it remained for a long time a spoken language, a kind of lingua franca. And when you look at that word lingua franca, lingua mean it comes from the Latin, from the Italian, means language, and then franca is it derives from the Greek and Arabic, it basically means Frankish. But when you put it together as the language of the Franks, right? It says and appears to print only in the 19th century. Before that, it had no established grammar and it was left to the individual to introduce foreign words as he desires, man. Basically, you can just make up some bullshit, man. And it further reads, there is no established form of pronunciation or spelling. The chaos in spelling may be illustrated by the rules laid down by the Judische Volksbibliothek. All right, it says right as you speak, and this is from page 174. You can look it up on your own. It says right as you speak, right so that both Polish and Lithuanian Jews may understand you and uh, spell differently words of the same sound, which have a different significance, man. Signification, man. Um, Let me see. Yeah, I mean that was pretty much it, man. So I just wanted to touch on that. Like I said, these are things that you can look up on your own from this book. I got this from page 173 and 174. Just thought that was some interesting information. Like I said, I went through this before. Had the book years ago. Just wanted to kind of touch bases on it again. And I don't think I ever did a lesson on this, but thought it was some interesting information. Obviously, there's some more information you can dig from this book if you desire to. Me personally, I just just wanted to hit that. So yeah, like as you can see, obviously that Yiddish is some made up BS. And hey, Esau Edom is constantly doing what he does best, which is defying the ways of Yahweh Shemi Shai. Before I close this out, let me get at least a few precepts. Yeah, this is Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies, man. And this book, it destroys a lot of the beliefs that so called small hats have to this day, whether they're aware of it or not. And it just just exposes them. You know what I'm saying? Exposes a lot of the lies that they've been taught, and that's still you know being spoke to this day. And so it says the wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies, man. So as soon as they're born, man, the Heavenly Father has it in their spirit where they are completely contrary to the ways of Yahweh Shem Shah. And that's just how they are. They can't help it. Let me get this real quick, man. Let's see. Yep. This is Psalm 63 and 11. It says, "But the king shall rejoice in Yahweh; every one that sweareth by him shall glory, but the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped." And eventually that will happen. The Heavenly Father will stop the mouths of them that speak these lies, man. Because Esau Edom, he is the main one pushing these wayward doctrine, these false philosophies, and these false truths. This is John 8:44. Ye of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. And this is basically Yahweh Shah cursing out these wicked niggas, and basically saying that they're of their father the devil. All right, basically they coming in the way of of Esau Edom and his spiritual counterpart Satan. He was a murderer from the beginning. All right, going into the history, of Cain. You know what I'm saying, and that lineage of wickedness. It says, "In a bold, not in the truth." It says, "Because there is no truth in him." You know. It says, "When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it, man." And that's just how these Edomites roll, man. They pretty much lie from from the moment they can speak all the way to they die. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna say shalom and a blah blah blah.